Mandan School Board meeting to order for February 6th. Brock Bailey, meeting 5:30. And we'll start with the agenda. Is there any additions to the agenda? Dr. Betts?
I do. Letter H under new business. It's a new hire, and the paperwork should be in front of you.
All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, what are the wishes on the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
All right, Ms. Kazad moves to approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Haugen seconds. Any further discussions, comments, changes? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to public communications, is there anybody in the audience who'd like to provide information to the board? Seeing nobody in the audience, we'll move on to the administrator's report. First item on the administrative report is legislative update. Dr. Bitts and Dr. Foxnot, we'll turn it over to you.
Great. I put a sheet. You have a handout in front of you, and we'll talk about these. And then if you have any bills that you'd like to ask about, we'll try to answer those questions as well. House Bill 1185. There's been some change to it. The grants have been taken out, but it's up to $60 million for school districts who are doing a construction project and dealing with unexpected inflation. So that would, and it's 1.5% money, a maximum of $5 million. So we'll see how this bill goes. Hopefully it goes through, and if it does, we will be applying. Later on in our agenda tonight, if you recall, about a year ago, we applied for state school construction loan. We were awarded that. That's $10 million at 2%. We have to access that within 1 year, which is why it's on your agenda tonight. You're going to pass a resolution to access those funds. And that's part of our $84 million that we can access. So, House Bill 1886, it raises the amount that a school can apply for from the state school construction loan to $20 million. I just said we're getting $10 million out of that right now, so we'd get to hopefully access more of that.
Dr. Bitts, on that one, that's at an interest rate of 1% for that?
Correct.
Okay, so they're going to lower that?
Yes, that's the proposal right now. We'll see. It's not even to the floor yet, but
understandable.
Yeah, as written right now, yes.
Okay. Did that come out of committee today?
I believe it has. I don't know how it came out of committee.
Okay, thank you, because all the bills that had appropriations had to be out today.
Because it's appropriations, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is this assuming right that 1185 is in addition to our bond issue?
No, you'd have to have passed a bond issue, but you're dealing with inflation. Yes, we could go above that, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we could go above the 84 because we're not, yes.
1186 is part of, but 1185.
I believe that's the way it would be. I'm not, I wouldn't, let me check on that. Let me check on that. I'm sure, because I don't know, I believe it would be in addition because Minot's the one pushing this bill forward because they're dealing with some real inflation. They're a little behind us, so it hit them even worse than it did us. I will get back to you, Mr. Haugen.
And Dr. Bitts, the interest rate, if I remember, on 1185 was what, 1.25%? Up to 1.25%?
1.5%.
1.5%?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I'll take the next three. Mr. Wolf and board members, 1199, we testified on the last couple weeks. That went right to House Appropriations. This bill was to replace the $68 million that we haven't seen from the feds for the CT grants. If you remember, a year ago, we were waiting for that. Actually, last biennium, that was authorized, and we've been waiting a year to get the grant approved, and then we've been waiting a year for the money. So the CT department went to appropriations to ask for an emergency clause to fund the $68 million that we haven't received. That went through unanimous from House Appropriations. The next Monday, it was in front of Senate Appropriations. It went unanimous through Senate Appropriations, and late last week went to the governor's desk. He's already signed it. So that was the first win. I know it was supported by the governor and also the Workforce Commission, so that's good to see. We have received a couple quick emails from CT about the funds and how we're going to be appropriating them or how we can get access to them. Mr. Legacy and I were talking about that today, about the fiscal impact, who's going to be housing the books for the new Heart River CT Center. We got to get some of that done, but we're honestly, just so you know, we're probably going to wait a couple months because we want to see how the rest of the funding goes with CTE and the center funding and that. We don't really have a rush to get those funds in our hands in the next, 90 days, so we can let the session play out. But it's good that we have access to the funds now. On the interest rate on that, it's really a loan. The interest rate on that is coming from the legislature through CTE is actually paying the interest with the Bank of North Dakota. So that's where we're getting the funds from.
And Dr. Fashionat, it's a loan, however, when the federal money comes in, that'll pay off all of that,
Right.
right? Okay.
Yep, that's the intent, that when the federal money shows up, it pays off the loan. This $2 million allocation to CT is actually paying the interest while we're waiting for the federal money to finally arrive.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and I think we should just say thank you to our legislators and the governor in regard to this. I mean, they had made a commitment. They haven't got the money, but they're holding up their end of the bargain. So I think,
Yep.
I mean, they should say thank you for that, because it's allowing us and others within our CTE grant to be able to get buildings built, so.
most definitely, they were very committed to getting the funds out. They knew that we'd been delayed, feeling the pinch of building and inflationary costs, but it's like, we all see the need for workforce, right? Workforce development. This delay is just waiting. These valuable 13 projects are being held up because of that. So they were very supportive of it. If no other questions, 1349 would raise the special ed factor from 0.82 to 0.125. That, I will tell you, got a do not pass out of House Ed today. So I don't foresee that being passed through the floor. And 1434 would extend the protection for local districts and high-cost kids. I know Dr. Bitts testified on that because we just have a great example and been kind of promoting that as a need. That did go through 14-0 out of the House Education Committee do pass.
House Bill 1532 just got out of committee today. It received a do pass 8-6, and that would allow the private schools to get a 30% payment from the state. So we'll see how that plays out in the House and Senate moving forward. And then finally, the big bill, Senate Bill 2284, right now has a 3% per increase in the per pupil payment each year. It has language that would increase the maximum amount that can be borrowed from the state school construction fund to $50 million if the project costs over $75 million. So again, there's probably another avenue that we can access some dollars. I'm not sure. I think somehow they're going to reconcile 1185, 1186, and the language in 2284. I don't think they're all going to pass, but we'll see how that all plays out.
All right. Back to 1532, if I could just ask a question. I mean, if they started accepting state money, does that mean all their books are going to be open and they're going to accept all the different individuals? Or what's the requirements that are included in there? Just
There are none. We watched the hearing today. There was several amendments that would have put some requirements, but there are no requirements as of right now.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any other questions?
On these or any other bills, if you have heard of another bill,
All right. And I guess we could move on to the NSBA convention, April 1st to the 3rd.
correct. I think a few of you have visited with Ms. Ova and are interested in attending. Just encourage you, if you're thinking about going, let us know as soon as possible so we can get you registered and take care of arrangements.
When is the registration deadline, do you know? Oh, we've already passed the early, so if you want to go, make sure you let them know. Any questions, any comments on that? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and the consent agenda tonight is approved previous board minutes from January 17th, 2023. What are the wishes of the board?
Move to approve the consent agenda?
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Peters moved and Ms. Peel seconded the motion. Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on, we'll go to unfinished business. The first item on unfinished business, review and consider request to be released from assigned teaching contract and have liquidated damage waiver for not fulfilling the terms of that contract for Maggie William. Dr.
Again, we're
Bitts?
still working on that. I'm hopeful that come March or April, we're going to have a solution, but until then, nothing right now.
All right. Any questions on that? Go ahead.
When do the new teacher contracts come out so that,
Not until we're done negotiating.
okay,
So, I mean.
in
my
a
hope
non-negotiating year, we would be
We
about
would
the
do-
same time
yes,
where
yes.
she would just not sign her next contract?
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. If not, we'll move on to the next item, review and consider a motion to approve the Mandan Education Association petition to negotiate. All the information, I think, is in your packet, Dr. Bitts.
Correct. And both these next two items, last time they petitioned to negotiate, we hung up a thing in each school saying they claim they represent the majority. Both the administrators and the teacher group that petitioned, there were no protests, so we can formally recognize them. I suppose we'll do them one at a time, that we'll recognize the teachers, and I think we already have a negotiations meeting set up for the 13th of this month at 4:30.
Ready to hit the ground running? All right. What are the wishes of the board on the Education Association's petition to negotiate? We'll do them separately.
I'd make a motion to approve the MEA's petition to negotiate.
All right, Mr. Horn has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I heard Mr. Peters down here second it before the other end. Sorry. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Moving on, we'll handle the administrator's petition to negotiate. Dr. Bitts has already provided the information.
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Just say that if both sides mutually agree to wait, you can. And the administrators said they would like to wait till session's over to meet, and I hope it's okay, but I agreed on your behalf that that was fine, that we didn't need to meet just to meet.
All right. I don't see anybody that has any issues with that, because I don't think we'll make any formal stuff until that's done anyway. So what are the wishes of the board?
I'd move to approve the Mandan Administrator's petition.
All right, Mr. Peters has made the motion to approve the Mandan Administrator's petition. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Uestal seconds. Any comments, questions, changes? All right, seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on, we'll move into new business review and consider approval of pledges of security from area banks. Mr. Legacy?
Yeah, included in your packet is our pledge of securities for December 31st. Both Starian Financial and BNC Bank meet the requirements from North Dakota Century Code, so I would recommend approval of the pledge of securities.
All right. We have the pledges of security in front of us. What are the wishes of the board?
I move to approve the Pledge of Securities.
All right, Ms. Cosette has made the motion to approve the securities. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Horn seconds it. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on, second item is review and consider a motion to approve a resolution authorizing and establishing the terms of $10 million general obligation school building bond series 2023. Mr. Legacy.
Yeah, included in your packet is the resolution. We've already been approved for the school loan through Bank of North Dakota. This resolution gives us access to those $10 million in funds. The reason you're seeing it now is that we have to access those funds by May 18th of 2023. And after this resolution goes through, there's a little bit of waiting period that we have to work through with Bond Council and Bank of North Dakota. So just making sure we access those funds in time and don't lose them. One quick note, just after we sell these bonds, we will have another bond sale We have another $26.5 million that we can sell from our initial referendum. And hopefully legislature comes through and we can maybe sell a little bit more. And then we also have up to $15 million in bonds that we can sell from the building fund. We've passed those resolutions, going to wait for the financial situation, kind of wait until we need those funds to sell those bonds. I'd like to push our payment schedule off as far as possible to reduce the tax impact on our taxpayers. So.
All right, and several of these bills that are before us, if some of those are passed, will actually probably lower some of our interest if we utilize those too, correct?
I would hope so, yes.
Yep. So, yeah, holding off probably makes sense. All right. What are the wishes of the board on this one?
I'd move to approve the resolution.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Peters. Do we have a second? We have a second by Ms. Ferris. Any comments, questions, discussion? Mr. Legacy, the interest on this one was 2%, right? Okay, I just want to make sure that we had that. All right, Ms. Silva, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on, the next item, review and consider approval of elementary school boundaries for 23-24. There are some maps in our agenda. Dr. Bitts?
Correct, and we did send the entire PowerPoint out, or a link to it, via Remind to all elementary parents. We also had a meeting in each elementary school. Dr. Fosnot and I kind of split them up and did those. They weren't real well attended, but I think the parents who had an issue did show up. We were able to make almost everybody happy. I think we only probably had a total of 6 or 7 parents total from all the schools that showed up. We did have a suggestion to have a meeting for our Spanish-speaking residents. We did have a 7th meeting last week, and that was probably the best attendance at a meeting. I think we had 7 or 8 families, and we took them each one and walked them through the process. I guess I would recommend that we adopt the boundaries as presented with one minor change. Our rural areas, I'd like to stripe them. And depending upon where we have room, the requests from the parents, where we could maybe use them to balance our enrollment and just give us a little bit of flexibility.
Okay, Dr. Bitts, and probably a question more for Mr. Legacy in this case. You know, a lot of times it's a transportation issue. If you stripe those in the rural areas, is that going to be an issue?
We'll make sure that the stripes are overlapping with areas where the buses are already going to 2 different schools. So for example, south of town, that bus is already going by Mary Stark and Roosevelt and probably Fort Lincoln. So we have the flexibility from the north and south. I will say I don't think we're going to take a kid from Red Trail and bus them to Fort Lincoln, but there's other options there.
Okay, because that's usually an issue, is
Yep.
the busing side of it in regard to that. And I just for the board's sake, I know Rick attended a couple of the different meetings in relation to it. The people that I saw were there, they really like where their kids go to school, their children go to school. I think that's a testament to our teachers and our administration and our support staff, that they really do a good job. And, you know, people aren't really wanting to move in regard to it. The ones that attended, they like where they're at. So just a thank you for everybody that's out there. They're doing a great job that way. So, Mr. Horn, was there anything you wanted to add, or anybody else that attended any of the meetings? All right. What are the wishes of the board on this one?
I move to approve the elementary school boundaries.
All right, Mr. Peters moved the approval of the elementary boundaries. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Horn seconds it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Silva, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Moving on, we'll move on to the next agenda, item D, review and consider approval of instructional time waiver request for NDDPI. Dr. Foshnot.
If you remember, board members, a couple years ago, since this was started before I arrived in Mandan, and we've just continued it on, we received a 2-year waiver 2 years ago. We have to reapply today. When I reached out to DPI, they said they would allow an extension It has to be reviewed by the board. That's why it's in front of you tonight. So I provided you the new application, which is very generic because it just pretty much says we want an extension of the original. So I also provided you with the original application and then also the supplemental materials that they wanted, which was the high school schedule, the calendar of school days for next year, and then also if you can also reaffirm the mission of the school district. I think you have mission, vision, and belief statement. They wanted to see that as well. But if you look back in the original, we're talking about removing about 27 seconds for every period that we need to have just to get our Braves tutorial time in. So this waiver is to accommodate Braves tutorial, and we're not meeting the minimum amount of time, but with the waiver, we can do that if approved by you and also by DPI. So that is what I'm seeking tonight, your approval to request that extension of our waiver.
All right. Any questions? Go ahead.
Dr. Postok, can you just review what happens in Braves tutorial? Because I think it's really beneficial, and I just think it's important to have that on the record because I know it's been a good thing.
Yeah, I think that perfectly aligns with our mission and vision. We talk about personalized learning, helping every kid achieve. Braves tutorial time is an opportunity for kids that need additional support in their classrooms to find a time where they can meet with that teacher. It kind of gives a flexibility to contact the teacher outside of a very rigid high school schedule that doesn't accommodate that very well. So Braves tutorial started as that, to be a time to reach out to your teacher, find a little additional support, make those contacts. If you feel like you're struggling, or if the teacher feels like you're struggling, both will make requests to meet during Braves tutorial. And I know we use certain days for certain topics too. We'll say this is kind of an English heavy day, this is a math heavy day, to accommodate those requests because kids have to go multiple directions. I will tell you in the last year, we've also used Braves tutorial for the implementation of our SEL programming in the high school. So they do that periodically, once a month, and that's just a time to meet and do our LCL programming for high school. And that's about working well together, learning how to cooperate, learning how to address problems in a respectful manner. I mean, we're teaching very important life work skills during that time. So, and if you haven't seen it, that's aligned really much with the Habitudes curriculum. If you're looking online, you look up Habitudes. That kind of gives you an idea what we're working with.
Dr. Foshnot,
Yes.
acronym SLE. What's this?
Social emotional learning. Yep. It's really teaching us all how to get along with each other and play nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? We need approval from the board on this one?
Yes, sir.
All right. What are the wishes of the board?
I would move to approve the instructional time waiver request for NDDPI.
All right. Ms. Beal has moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Gazette seconds it. Any further comments or discussions? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on, next item on the agenda is review and consider approval of the first reading of the following policy, JPE-E, parties approved to receive student data. Dr. Foshnot, this is a yearly review, if I remember right.
That is correct, Chairman Wolf. This is a yearly review. We're bringing it to you, again, as a year review. We've added some. You can see the green lines and some red strikeouts, but we've added the services that are presently receiving student data, and we've added those, and I'm going to scroll back down. Sorry, I lost my computer for a second. For those changes, and those are coming from Mr. Rarick, IT department. They've added some changes to that as well. So, and I think the one that prompted me to ask Mr. Rarick to do the change was on, I'm going to get this right, the second page where you see Light Home Technologies LLC. That is some work we're doing with the high school. If you remember right, we kind of dipped in our performance on Choice Ready at the high school this last year. We've been working with a Regional Education Association out of the Southeast and working with a vendor there to do a much better job of tracking and also reporting that to parents. This firm This company is building a dashboard in PowerSchool that parents can watch and students can watch, and we can better report that information. And hopefully getting to the point where kids can self-report. I did volunteering. I can now report that to Choice Ready, and so we don't miss out on some of those opportunities to indicate that our kids are actually Choice Ready. So.
Okay. Any questions on this one? All right, what are your wishes?
I move to approve the first reading of policy JPE-E.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Peters. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second from Mr. Haugen. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, Ms. Olva, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on, review and consider approval of letters of resignation from N.D. Kaveen, Title I at Red Trail Elementary, and Annette Carey, Grade 2 at Roosevelt Elementary. Dr. Fashna.
We would recommend that the board approve both of these with commendations for their long service to Mandan School and our children.
Any questions? What are the wishes?
I move to approve the two letters of retirement.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Ms. Peel. Any further comments, questions? Ms. Uusdahl?
Yeah, I'd like to take time to acknowledge them and thank them for their service at Mandan Public Schools.
Thank you for doing that. That's right. Anybody else? Seeing none, Ms. Olva, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, and thank you, and to reiterate what Ms. Uusdahl said, thank you for your years of service. It's greatly appreciated. Moving on, review and consider open enrollment application seeking a deadline waiver. Dr. Fashna?
And last thing for me tonight, for you, is you should have this in front of you. We have an application for an open enrollment seeking a deadline waiver from a present Mandan school student who is moving to Bismarck, would like to stay with us, so 10th grader.
All right. Any questions? What are the wishes of the board?
I'd move to accept the waiver.
All right, Ms. Peel's moved to accept the waiver. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Uusdahl seconds it. Any further discussion, comments, questions? Seeing none, Ms. Olva, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Last item on the new business agenda is new hire for Anna Kennedy for elementary special ed.
Correct.
Dr. Bitts.
This is she'll graduate this spring, a special ed teacher. We're going to need to hire new teachers with her. I'm not sure exactly where she's going to be assigned, but she's going to be an elementary special ed teacher, and she was interviewed by Mr. Klein and Mr. Beckman, and they are recommending we offer a contract for next year.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Bitts on this one? If not, what are the wishes of the board?
I move to approve the hiring of Anna Kennedy.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Gazette. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Hogan. Any further discussions? All right, Ms. Silva, please call roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, moving on, the next item on the agenda is future meeting dates, February 13th, and teacher negotiations, 4:30 PM at the Brave Center. February 21st, regular school board meeting at 4:15 at City Hall. Notice that's a change to 4:15, because I think we got to be done before the city has their meeting. Next item is February 27th, policy and personnel, 5 o'clock at the Brave Center. March 6th, regular school board meeting, 5:30 City Hall. March 13th, student achievement, 5 o'clock at the Brave Center. Anything else? Any other meetings that should come before the board? Seeing none, meeting's adjourned.